Welcoming you all to this episode of the Ascension Alchemists. My name is Michael Abramson, and I'm excited today to dive into the conscious evolved man. For many of you know that I've lived a lifetime of deep curiosity, and I share that because I know when growing up, I asked a lot of questions. I asked a lot because I was always curious what life was. And so when meeting friends, meeting people, I always brought forth what is beyond what we already know. And I feel what's so important about this question is it directly ties to a lot of us men because I look at my own journey as an area of learning, expanding, and really just figuring out life in general. Growing up, I had a lot of challenges of just really seeing what life was all about because it just seemed like there was a lot of distraction and confusion of how to appear on the outside. Yet somewhere within me kept asking me, there's more than this life. There's more than what seems to be on the outer edge. And that's why I feel very passionate to speak about this topic of the conscious evolved man, because as a man growing up, I would step back and not just look at what was happening, but question what's behind what is being shown. And many times I got in trouble. Many times people looked at me in many different directions. Many people couldn't even accept me because I really wanted to know more than what was being shown on surface. I don't know if you've ever gone through life and you're presented with something and it's just given as just an object, a bookmark, a piece of material. And it's like, here, this is for you. And you're like, well, what is this? Well, no, just take it. Well, what is the meaning of this? What's behind the reason why you're giving it to me? Oh no, just take it. I'm giving it to you. And so part of that question that I'm posing was to look at life in a deeper way. In a deeper way, I feel it's really looking at the essence of who we are. And growing up, I felt like when I met a lot of people, I would sit in conversations and just talk about the evolution of our consciousness, what we were here to do, why life was happening the way it was, and what our missions were. And I know that may sound strange as someone growing up as a child, yet I feel many of us have come in with direct missions and direct levels of interest of how we can be the greatest version of ourselves. So growing up, when I met many people, I would have these conversations, for those that would allow me, of course, because some others thought I was maybe a wackadoodle or one that just was looking too deeply at life because they were just following the mainstream, which was okay. Yet looking at the depth really gave me the passion of seeing how not only could I look at what's happening, but how I can evolve to the greatest version of myself. And for those that know me, I'm a very social person. I love meeting new people, learning about different aspects of where they came from, what they do, and what they're passionate about. And so growing up, I had many different friends of all different types of origins, backgrounds, and one of the areas I was like is, well, what do you want to be in life? What do you want to evolve into next? And so it was fascinating to hear that as my parents took us to different aspects of the country. We got to meet a lot of unique individuals, and it just brought this deeper inner passion to explore and to navigate what was behind the scenes of each and every person, because I feel we're all gifts, and I feel we all have this opportunity to present our world with something special. And so as I was growing up, I recognized there was a lot of conflict to this because many people wouldn't go beyond the surface. They would just stay with, well, I want to just, graduate and I want to get married, I want to have children, and that was fine. That was beautiful. Yet I was like, well, what are you really here for? What is it that you really want to do? How passionate are you to do something that hasn't been done before? And so I would have these conversations with friends. And then I started to understand that, wow, I was actually talking to more women than men because women were more expressive when I was a child and teenager. And they would ask me, where are the other conscious men? Where are the ones that are here to really bring forth what we believe this highest and greatest transformation that we're going through? And I said, they're out there. Yet I feel like they just haven't been brought to the attention. So 8 years ago, when I met my wife, in which she was working with a lot of the sacred feminine, she posed the question of, do you feel the passion or do you have the urge to work with the sacred masculine? I said, but of course. Growing up, I had so many male friends and I would have deep conversations with friends in spiritual camps and really went beyond what I knew as just a man, but what it is to be aligned within ourselves. And what I mean with aligned is seeing both the sacred masculine and sacred feminine within us and being in that full alignment of what I've discovered today. But growing up, it felt like the universe kept providing these opportunities to meet more and more individuals. So 8 years ago, I had the opportunity to then start these sacred men gatherings here in the metropolitan of DC. And that started to grow and evolve until we moved down to Florida, into Sarasota, where I would gather the men. And it was great because we went to the beach at sunset and 20, 30 men, we would sit in a circle and hold sacred space by listening to each other, speaking the truth of what we felt deep within, and really having the opportunity to practice this expression of who we are. And I felt that was such a magical moment that is still evolving, because in these circles, it gave the opportunity for men to feel safe. And I appreciate that because I started to learn about myself. The more safe I felt, the more I could start communicating with others in pure authenticity. Growing up, I felt like a lot of us had this shield around us, or we had this false version of just trying to be the coolest person because that was the fad, that was the thing to do. Yet the older I became and more conscious in my own curiosity, it started to evolve to a level of saying, well, who am I? And why am I here? And what is my purpose? And obviously with my wife and our divine mission, and also just this inner passion of connecting with others, especially men, because I feel growing up we weren't taught this connection in a very thorough way. We weren't given the opportunity to really learn about how to express our emotions and thoughts in a positive, mature manner, or even reacting and responding in moments that are of consciousness. So having the opportunity to build and grow upon these experiences really lifted me to share what it would be like to gather men and how we could all come together and bring forth sacred topics. Topics that we probably wouldn't discuss while watching a sports game, or we're out in a bar, or we're at a party where a lot of men sometimes open up due to substances. This was a substance-free gathering. And I felt each time we would come out and start bringing forth our inner truth, it gave us the opportunity to feel more connected within ourselves, as well as connected outside and in a brotherhood. And I feel right now, many people are looking for connection. And many men, I feel when we come together, it gives that opportunity to really be who they are in the most authentic way. And that realm is just to be raw and real, as we do on this podcast. I share this because I feel as we continue to move and grow and evolve in this expansion of consciousness, the leaders, the sacred masculine, there's a call right now that I feel deep within that many are starting to rise, but they're looking around and saying, well, where are the other men? Where are the other conscious beings that have been called here to really help seed and bring forth the new changes of this great expansion that we're seeing on our earth right now? And so I feel, as one of those conscious evolved leaders myself, it's my deep passion to bring forth the wisdom, the knowledge, and just the personal experiences that have helped me, whether it's been through leading sacred men's circles, teaching conscious programs online, being a mentor, or even having one-on-one healings. I notice there's an activation. And when this activation happens, individuals walk away feeling better about themselves, in which we get to recognize in depth that there's a greater version that is being seen and being heard and being expressed. And that's what excites me, because I feel we're just scratching the surface when we come together, because the deeper we speak and the more we start to bond and connect, I feel like it's almost like we bring our shoulders back and we just start to relax. And we just allow our inner self be in that innocence and that purity, and really invite what I find is the best, that inner child, to just play and have fun, because I feel joy is one of the greatest aspects we can share in this world. So these are some of the conversations that I'm looking forward to bring in this podcast, of themes and topics and areas that can really expand and open up the consciousness of how we can become the greatest version of ourselves, which is already here. It's expanding a lot through these limitations that I see daily that I'm going through. And to find that humility, and to find that humbleness and that grace and that laughter, and to really just let go and do what I feel is most important as a man, is just be versus do. Because as human beings, we have a lot to learn of slowing down and just being still and bringing forth what I feel is one of our greatest challenges, is just to allow ourselves, without trying to prove anything or do anything, just show up in your pure, natural sense of being. And that's what I'm so grateful to dive deeper into these episodes, into these conversations, of just inviting the conversation of how can I be the greatest version of myself, and what qualities and what areas can I grow into. And of course, I ask myself this every day: what areas can I let go? Areas that I can just relax into and be, and not try to push or pull so hard, because I really feel we're in a very special time right now. And as I speak to those that are listening, and the men that are ready to lead, to step forward, and to share their message. And one of the greatest things I really love about working with men is listening to their message, and just listening from their heart of what they want to do. Because to be heard is to be healed. And I feel like there's such a creative, expansive, and amazing opportunity for us to share that on these channels and on these fields of frequency and vibration that really help elevate us to where we're going. So I thank you today for listening, and I'm so very excited to share more of the journey of the conscious evolved man, and always open to the questions you may have. And what does it take to be a conscious evolved man, and the challenges, the conflicts. I feel like it's such an open book for us to really explore, because right now, when I grew up, I read a lot about these amazing beings, whether it was religious or philosophical or poets or writers. Yet I feel when it comes out, where we can voice it and express it in the leaders that we can now create within ourselves, then it becomes a whole new game. There are many great men out there, and there are many rising at this moment. And I just invite this opportunity to open up the conversations of how we can really give back and support our dear sacred world, our dear sacred feminine, and really come forth in our truth of who we are. So once again, I want to thank you all for joining today, as there's so much more to come, so many more topics to speak about, and so much to evolve in what we're going through in these amazing, empowering days before us, because it's pretty thick out there right now. And I feel the more we get to understand what's happening within us, we get to walk through that density a little easier, with more grace, without the stress and the worry and the fear and the pain being pulled upon, because many of us are releasing that now, so we can really be that greater version that we already were when we first brought ourselves into this planet. So once again, thank you very much, and looking forward to continuing this conversation in the days, weeks, months, and years to come. Wishing you all a most beautiful and blessed day.